Draft prep time, that time of year again with Bucky Brooks on NFL Now as we're looking at Florida State defensive lineman Eddie Goldman, a guy who, coaches loved him at Florida State, hoping the same thing might happen in the NFL for him.
Very exciting prospect. It's hard to find big guys that can really move well laterally, but also have the ability to play with power. Eddie Goldman is a rare commodity in the National Football League. A guy that's very active, he's strong, really came into his own this year, made plays in critical moments for Florida State. And when I'm looking at a guy on tape, particularly a defensive tackle, I want someone who is a disruptive force at the point of attack. Eddie Goldman is that, and because of that, there will be a lot of people that get really excited about him when they start taking a hard look at his game.
You talk about a guy who's big and a guy who's also very athletic, especially for his size, and those are traits in high demand in the NFL.
Yeah, versatility is really big in the National Football League, and when I'm building the defense, we always talk about building it right up front. Because he can play nose tackle, he can play the 3 technique, which is off the shade of the guard. He gives you a lot of flexibility in what you want to do on defense, but really it comes back to being disruptive and active. Eddie Goldman is disruptive and active, and because of that, defensive coaches would really be excited about his potential.
Whose game does he remind you of in the league right
now? He reminds me of former Seminole Darnell Dockett with the Arizona Cardinals. Darnell Dockett is a guy that has played multiple positions in multiple schemes for the Cardinals since coming into the league. We talked about a guy who's had as many as 9 sacks during his career, but is also stout versus the run. When I look at Eddie Goldman in the right system, he can give you anything that you want. Run stopper, he can be a guy that can also make plays as a pass rusher. A lot of versatility, a lot of things to like about Eddie Goldman.
We know obviously how much talent is on this Florida State roster. Does it make it more difficult to accurately gauge a guy because you don't know how much other attention other players on that line are drawing away from him?
Yeah, it does make it tough to evaluate it because they have a lot of talent on their defense. You look at a bunch of guys making plays, but really when I look at defense, it starts up front. He is the guy that is the most active player along that line, and because he's so disruptive, a lot of guys feed off of his energy and make plays because he occupies multiple blockers at the point of attack.
Okay, Eddie Goldman, Florida State defensive tackle. And if you want to read about more guys who are hoping to make it big come draft day, you can go to NFL.com/collegefootball.